Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. Romans and I are both money guys, but we're also gamers, so we wanted to put this pod together to help gamers like us with some of their tough money topics that can sometimes feel as hard as a Souls boss.
We're talking budgeting, saving, paying off debt, and how to not fall for all the traps life throws at you.
Grab a health potion and let's start stacking gold IRL. This is DLC, a finance podcast for gamers. Welcome to Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. I'm Scruffy, and this is Romans. And today we're going to be talking a little about AI in game development, taking a little bit of a detour off of the finance side and talking a little bit more about the gaming side.
Well, I'm excited because right now in Boulder, Colorado, a hackathon has started around AI. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I'm super excited about today's topic.
Yeah, today Romans and I are going to be going a little bit head to head on what we think about AI. Romans is all aboard the AI train, really excited about, just like you said, the hackathon going on and what the future is. I'm maybe a little bit more skeptical. I like AI. I think there's some great uses for it, but I think if it's not stewarded wisely, it could really put us in an interesting position in game development where there's a lot of loss of creativity, which I think we're already suffering from. And yeah, I think it should be a good episode. So before we get into like the actual debate, wanted to talk a little bit about what some of the things we're seeing AI used for in game development now. It's becoming pretty common now, especially for indie developers, and now even some of the AAA studios are starting to pick up different AI tools for coding their games, different things like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think we're kind of in the golden age of AI right now, where everything that is becoming possible is starting to be uncovered. Um, More on the finance side, I've been seeing AI companies just shoot through the roof when it comes to like the stock market. If anything has the AI label on it, it becomes super attractive to investors. I think that's going to be continuing for the next couple of years. And I think that gaming development is a really interesting place where we could see some significant growth in the utilization of it in the coming years.
Yeah, no, AI is absolutely, I thought it was just another gimmick at first. I thought it was just another fad. We just jump on anything that's trendy and there really isn't real tech
Hmm.
like the Bitcoin craze, which is doing great things, and the whole crypto side of things. I honestly thought AI less than 2 years ago it's a nice to have, but I didn't expect it to be so dominating as it is today.
Hmm.
It's so dominating that if you don't do anything in tech with AI, no one believes you're actually doing anything in tech at all. Like you,
Yeah.
you literally can't do anything with technology if AI isn't somewhere. You have to have it somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where we go with today's conversation in game development and what we all think about where it has a place in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think some of the really positive things that we're seeing is level generation and environment generation tools. I think, for games where you have to generate, I think specifically for open world games where you're having to generate large amounts of assets across a big open world, you're going to see a lot of benefits with AI there, because instead of having to have a dedicated team of people coding things in the background, AI could potentially help with some of that large coding burden and allow teams to be a little bit more focused on the specific level design things or Easter egg elements to different games, different things like that, as well as having actual NPCs that utilize more complicated, more comprehensive I think will be able to lend itself to making some of these more immersive RPGs that much more like you're actually talking to a person, where instead you had to have the game developers programming all these different dialogue trees themselves. Now you actually could potentially have an AI that's working on creating those dialogue trees real time in response to different player actions, which I think can be really, really cool in some of these RPGs where you're interacting with the world over a long period of time and your actions can be stored and the NPCs can react to you real time off of the different actions you're taking rather than just pre-programmed dialogue trees and logic trees.
And I think for me, one of the first signs that AI wasn't a gimmick was seeing how devastating it was to the writing community. The
Mm,
copyright editors and those who are in charge of like the dialogue you're just talking about. And then you would see it in real time in a business sense. All these folks were just literally not being able to find consulting work. They already were
mm,
contractors, so they weren't necessarily laid off. They just were no longer hired, and AI does it. And when you talk to folks today about how they handle email, just a quick side note, I'm not a fan of email. I'm waiting for technology to come around to just wipe email off the map. But I'll tell you, email is still one of the most dominant things in the business side of the world, whether it comes to marketing or just handling internal or external transactions.
yeah,
Seeing someone who, if you interact with anyone who emails a lot, AI literally writes the majority of their emails.
it's true. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I don't email very often, right? Because I just can't stand it. So I try to not do it as much as possible.
Hmm.
But the more folks I talk about, it, AI is not a gimmick. It's here to stay,
Yeah.
it and I think what AI really is doing is it currently I don't think it I think it's getting there, but I think AI already has reached the point where it removes mediocre work. I think
Yeah.
AI has already
100%.
mastered how to do evergreen or work that doesn't really matter that has to be done, filler work. Uh, it does that really well. I think the question that we'll have to cross is can it do excellence well? Uh,
Yeah.
and if it can do excellence well, I think that's where people should start getting nervous and should get concerned because
Yeah.
it really raises the bar. Because then it would say, where's your place in all of this? Because a lot of folks are great. The world, everyone wants to assume that they're an A player. Everyone wishes that they're like an A plus person, that they are the secret sauce to every machine. And really, I think most companies are filled with solid B players. And I think AI has gotten to the point that it takes away all the D players and some of the C players.
Hmm.
I in 1 year we will find out if it can do B level work or higher. And I think in game making, is it already there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting question. Even I myself actually use AI quite a bit with my business. For example, just today I was drafting an investment policy statement for a pretty big client. I knew all the stuff that I was going to be investing in the specific plan, and I used AI to do all the formatting for myself. I gave it like the letterhead, the format I wanted it in, and then it filled in all the specifics myself for me, and all I had to do was go through, edit a couple of things, and then it was pretty much ready to send off to the client instead of me having to spend 2 hours or so going through and creating it myself, even to the point where it was able to create tables and graphs to that I wanted to show the specific allocations, investment projections, provided all of that for me without me having to go through, create it in, Microsoft Word or Excel or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think its primary use, in my opinion, is to supplement people's work to allow them to spend more time doing the things that really matter and less time on menial tasks, which to your point, definitely I think starts to take away some of those D and C players because that kind of not necessarily menial, but that time consuming task that doesn't require a lot of brain power, but requires a lot of just time to accomplish is starting to kind of go by the wayside. And I think if used properly, AI can really allow for some great games. But I think I'm less than optimistic that AAA game studios, with what stuff they've been putting out now, are going to use it properly.
Well, the AAA guys, we talked about in a prior episode, they're spending 200 million and spending somewhere between
Hmm.
6 years and 10 years to make one video game.
Yeah,
And then you have folks like your favorite game that you still haven't beaten yet, Claire Obscura, Expedition
I'm almost
30.
finished.
Are you
Almost
okay?
finished.
They spent 36 million. I think they got it done in 6 years.
Hmm.
So the point being, at the end of the day, what does the soup taste like? You got a game like the game you're almost done with, Claire Obscure. It tastes like a AAA game. Yet somehow they
Yeah, it
did
does.
it for a fifth of the price with like less than half the staff. And in
Yeah, I think it was like
about
30 something developers.
yeah, like how right? And I don't yet know if they even used AI. I don't think AI was really a thing, so I really doubt it. But
Yeah.
there is, I just think they built quick and they built fast, and they knew, and they
Hmm.
kept the scope creep. They kept the there's a lot to be desired in the game you're playing, and that's okay because they did what they knew they wanted to do really well, and cut all
Yeah.
the fluff that all other games have. They just cut it out, and to get it done. And in the end, it's a
Hmm.
compelling story that will make you cry when you finish it. Depending on how you, well, I think either, yeah. I've seen, I think I've seen multiple endings, and I think any of the
Yeah,
endings,
there's two main endings, and kind of depending on where you want to go with the story, but
yeah.
both are, I've been told, are devastating. So,
So that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't matter, and either ending is pretty. It's a tearjerker moment. Yeah. I can't say more without ruining it. So
yeah, please don't.
yeah, yeah. So then what happens is, I'm just kidding. All right. So going into AI in game development, you got some applications here that people are using in AI development. Why don't you just rip through them real quick, since you'll be the enemy of it all?
Yeah. I mentioned a little bit before some of the kind of the procedural generation where if you have a bunch of levels, like maybe in a Souls like where you're going through very similar level design, it can potentially help you with generating some of those dungeons and stuff like that. So you're not having to code all that specifically. Like I mentioned before, the NPCs and actually having different dialogue trees that can react to you real time instead of having pre-programmed dialogue trees that you work your way through. Asset creation. This is kind of some of the more controversial things when you're looking at like the importance of digital art, who owns it, is AI and actual artists, some controversial things there. I know we both know a number of artists that does directly affect, as well as, code assistants for being a great coder is becoming less and less important because AI now has the ability to create this code, and as long as you know how to check it properly, it can the amount of code that AI can spit out quickly is pretty impressive. And then lastly, one of the biggest things is actually testing the game and finding bugs. I think if we're able to get to a point where AI can do some of the debugging, you're going to get games that are able to get launched a lot quicker because bugs are able to be found faster. And you're able to knock out some of this long testing periods where you have a game in early access hell for 2 years until the final game actually comes out because you're just trying to find all of these different bugs.
Good old bug squishing. You squish one bug, but you break the game and cause 10 more. I think it's very common. And I think the more complex your game is, the higher chance that. Are you really fixing things you think you are without breaking something else? Did you just
Yeah.
break the physics by making sure you can't clip through a wall? And now this other wall you forgot doesn't have a roof,
Yeah.
and you can just jump over it. Anyways, yeah, that's cool. Uh, I think one quick caveat is neither one of us make video games, right? So this is going to come
Yeah.
from a perspective of what we think is happening, not what we are doing.
Yeah. That's true. I've read some, articles about it, but I don't have any firsthand experience in this. And this is purely from someone kind of on the outside, uh, hopeful gamers who enjoyed the space.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think I've made any real games. I've made charity games. I've made them that are on a GUI platform, and you just WYSIWYG your way through it. I'm sure I was doing some kind of basic coding parameters, but for the most part, it was if if this and that, then that type dialogue to think through.
Hmm.
Which really, at the end of the day, is what most game development. At the end of the day, you want something to happen if another thing. Like it's just we for us non-coders, we make development sound harder than it is. But at the end of the day, you want there's cause and effect, and then it's just an exercise of how deep are those cause and effects to create the certain outcomes you're looking for. So it's not it's just the language to get you there. I think that a lot of folks are like, oh,
Hmm.
you can't, you're not a developer. What do you know? But I'm like, those who play video games actually know the most because we play all. The funniest comment I get from developers, and I love asking this, those who, whether you develop in a general sense or you make games, but when you talk about the things that you are building, in this case, we're talking about gaming, you talk to a game developer. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what games are you playing? And the funniest responses I love getting are, I don't play video games, or I haven't played a video game in 5 years. And all I can think about is, you're the guy making the video game. You don't
Yeah,
even know
I
what
can't.
the hot video game is right now. Like you don't know what players love right now.
Hmm.
And you're deep in development cycle and you're probably going to finish the game in 3 years and you don't know what's hot right now? How do you
Yeah.
not know how do you know what you're making is going to be hot 3 years from now?
Mm.
It's always so funny how we talk about current affairs, and it's just it's quite the funny conversation, and it's why I think to make a great game you need the full system. It, you can't just be a dude alone in a room and think you'll make a great game. You have to come out of the room and
Yeah.
talk to the player base, or answer or actually be solving a problem you really feel led to solve. Like you really want to make a game that does not exist, and hopefully you
Yeah.
did your research to prove it doesn't exist. Because I would say almost every game exists today. It's very you're
Yeah.
combining unique aspects of other games to make a unique game today. Very rare. There are the few exceptions where someone actually thinks of a new way, and bless their
Yeah.
hearts that they thought of that. That is amazing.
Hmm.
Because even Clear Obscure, really, that's Legend of Dragoon with new graphics and a great story.
Yeah.
That's really all
It's
it
an
is.
updated JRPG.
Yeah, and time based tactics, big whoop. But the
Hmm.
way they did it, the way they executed it, beautiful. The storytelling, even among the different characters when they do their abilities, oh, I love it. Anyways, let's
Hmm.
move on. Let's kick this baby off. We're 17 minutes in, and we haven't even debated anything. This is terrible. Amateurs. All right. Let's talk about the benefits of AI. So, I'm going to say some generic comments, and you're going to tear them all down. So I do think
All right.
we are living in an indie generation. We're living with the latest Unreal Engine and all the assets you can purchase off the
Yeah.
market. We're living in a state where indie developers are in the most powerful place they've ever been. Now they have the power of AI, which AI is basically free employees to do a lot of the heavy lifting that you might be doing alone. Like at the end of the day, if you're doing an open world map, that's a lot of grass to animate in a field.
Yeah.
And you could go and plop down literally all the grass you want, or you could use AI and you could just tell it fill this area plane with grass, right? Fill this zone, and it'll just do it. I think that is a huge cost savings, not only for indies but even AAA, because I'm sure it's a running joke that there's a water dev out there. Every video game has great water effects. Usually, most video games have something to do with water. Even in space, there's water in
Hmm.
a jar, and it's kind of a funny joke that there's a water dev out there. There's a game in every game. There's some developer responsible for animating water.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things now is through the power of AI, you kind of don't need the water dev anymore. Just have AI do it. Because at the end of the day, water is nice, but unless it's like a sea game, water isn't really that critical to the game. Having AI water, it's fine. Just most gamers have come from the pixel generation. We don't need
Yeah.
realistic drinkable water. And instead of having probably, I bet you those teams of 200, there's probably 10 of them in charge of just animating water or grass or leaves or paper
Yeah.
rustling in the wind. And I think AI can handle all of that. And then Another thing that I would say is AI is actually pretty good at guessing what we're going to do next because that's what AI really is. I think a lot of folks misunderstand what AI is. AI, at least today, is not sentient. All AI is doing is taking data that it has and guessing the next best move. It can
Yeah.
do that with actions of characters. I think you were mentioning earlier with NPCs. And
Hmm.
it can and what you need in a game these days, at least for most games, is you just need a robust environment. But you don't need a perfect environment. You just need an environment that is robust enough to not feel empty. Because some of these worlds are gigantic. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Assassin's Creed. One bad thing about Assassin's Creed game is they literally make entire worlds, literally the size of like Russia, but it's
Yeah.
also like Russia in that it's empty, void. You can go literally miles without interacting with anyone or anything. I think that's one of the benefits of AI. You can make AI do that. You can make AI fill it up with places. So when you're traveling from point A to point B, at least there's something to interact with on your way there. It could be a thief like robbing someone on a trail, and
Mhm.
it's not that meaningful of an experience, but it just fills the environment. So
Yeah.
I'll give you that. You can chew on that and maybe push back a little bit on what I just said there.
Yeah, I think with that specifically, I think that is one of the main areas that I do see some benefits with AI in the game development cycle, with a couple exceptions. You had mentioned kind of like the water dev, and I think for certain games, you can notice the level of care that the developers put into some of these background elements. Like there are definitely games out there where the environment you're in is remarkably beautiful, and there's different elements. Every such single instance looks the same, or looks different, I should say, instead of the same. I think with AI, one of the downsides of that is, like you mentioned before, AI as it stands now is a learning based model. It's predictive, and it is going to be generating based on what its input has been. Because of that, I don't think it's very good at generating original content continuously. I think I don't know, any of you who have gone through kind of AI chatbots recognize that after a certain amount of time, you start getting the same type of answers from it. And I think that's some of the limitations we have there because it's not true artificial intelligence yet. So I think the beauty that you get from these developers that really, really care about the backgrounds of these worlds, I think that is part of what lends to these longer development cycles. But the true gamers, the gamers who will spend hours in a world, notice that. And sometimes, especially with AI created stories that I've seen, um, you can kind of notice when sections are AI because it gets somewhat repetitive, somewhat similar to other areas. And I think that's some of the problems that we'll run into when you have these large areas of terrain or something like that in games that are developed by AI.
Yeah, true. All that's true. But we will see where AI takes us because I'm telling you, the speed upon which AI is improving is pretty. Have you seen the latest animation AI? It is, I know deep down, was it AI trained ethically, morally, and all that, which is all valid. And
Hmm.
if you and I were in charge of AI, we would fix it. But, you know, however they're planning, I am seeing crazy quality animation AI lately. I saw one randomly about Street Fighter, like they were trying to spoof a trailer for it.
Hmm.
At the end of it, I wish it was a real movie, right? Like
Mm.
it, AI just really understands how to guess us well. If you feed it like Street Fighter as a product has been around, I think 20. Wait, how 30 years? How Street Fighter the video game I think
Hmm.
has been around something 30 years. You give AI 30 years of data, it will give us players what we want. It is so good at guessing what we want that it can make a really good trailer, and every single character, again, was it made ethically? I don't know, but that character literally looked like Ryu, for you hardcore Japanese pronunciators out there, and
I've
Ken
never
and
once heard it pronounced Ryu. I've only ever heard it Ryu.
yeah. So that's how we do it. So anyway, so Ryu, he's amazing. Like the animation was so cool, so authentic, and or it felt authentic, right? It was all fake and AI
Yeah.
based, but I am just so impressed. We used to make fun of AI when it couldn't get fingers right, and now it's getting to the point
Yeah.
that it's doing animation. And you're saying earlier it doesn't do things original, and I think that's kind of true, right? It's not original, but it felt original, and that I think that's the ethical dilemma. How,
Mm.
someone has to hold AI creators responsible for how they're making it. But man, the end product, I am not smart enough to know how that was done. All I know is I want more of it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the big kicker, because what am I supposed to do, right? I'm just the end user. All I know is whatever I just saw, I want more Street Fighter like that.
Mm.
And that's in less than probably a year. Like AI is just really, it's really speeding up. I cannot wait to see what AI looks like next year. And just so you know, here we should talk about it now. Glue AI is the hackathon that's going on right now, building redemptive AI that's built on Rails and built with Jesus in mind. It's literally fed the Bible and how it operates as AI. Right now, it operates more as a the old ways of how ChatGPT worked, where it only give you text
Hmm.
prompts. But lo and behold, Glue AI is on track to making AI that does more than that, and will all be ethically sourced and morally responsible. So stay tuned. But we have a hackathon going on in Boulder, Colorado for the next 30 days. It ends October
That's
10th,
huge.
and it's $250,000 that we're giving away for folks who participate in this hackathon. So check them out, glueai.com, and you should definitely sign up for the hackathon. You can still sign up by the time you hear about this, but it's been going on for quite a bit, so you're a little bit behind. It's actually glue.com/AI, so I butchered that, so I had to Google it real quick. I'm like, I think I said that wrong. It's glue.com/AI. And the hackathon is going on right now. It ends October 10th. You have to be there in Boulder, Colorado to win any of the prizes. So check it out. The whole premise is building redemptive tech through AI, and yours truly is running the gaming track. So out of the 250K, we have 20,000 for someone who makes a redemptive game using
Mm.
AI, and that it's an actual video game. So any kind, even if it's a pre-existing video game, the vertical slice has to be started somewhere after September 8th through October 10th. Just the feature, the system, whatever part you're building for that video game. If it's a pre-existing video game that's been out already, could be a DLC, but whatever it is has to be redemptive in nature. Obviously, we're building things for the Lord, for the kingdom. It does
Mm.
not mean it has to be, oh, Jesus simulator. Look at me, Jesus walking in Capernaum. It doesn't have to be that explicit, but there has to be some part of it that redeems the culture for the Lord and is
Yeah.
kingdom minded and why you're making any of it. So check
That's
that
good.
out. That's the ad, and that's going on right now through October 10th. So hope to see you there. I'll be there and hope to meet you and sign up and let's make a noise. This is one of the
Yeah.
first times I would say that the Big C Church is down to hear what gamers want to do
Mm.
for the Lord. So I would say, please, if you are in the kingdom and you're in gaming, definitely pay attention and see if you can participate. Back to your regularly
Yeah.
scheduled debate and talking about whether AI is good or bad for the world. So I really think that AI is just, in your show notes you say next 5 years. I think it's literally the next year. AI fat.
Mm.
If we do this, we should do this. Actually, we should time stamp this. We should do this next year. And I have a feeling everything we said is going to be obsolete and terrible advice and totally out of pocket and be like, guys, you had no idea what you were talking about. Look at where we are now, and
Mm,
I'm all for it. I do wish we did care about creatives and the creative process and honor where they are
yeah.
in all of it. And I hope a year from now we have a solution to that, and that we are past that, because we're past it in many other ways. Creatives in other places usually get burned as technology improves, and in the end, usually we figure out ways to get people credit for their work. So I'm hoping the powers that
Mhm.
be a year from now figure out how to do AI and copyright, and figure out how to help creatives out there who've spent their creative energies to make something and not have it just completely ripped by
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah. I think AI can get to a place where we have all those things. I just don't see it yet. I think you're just kind of gonna get a lot of the same generative prompts because where AI is right now is it's generative AI. It's predictive, and it's all based on what you feed it. So if you have, the same type of AI bot that is generating code and it's all being fed the same prompts, it's all going to be spitting out pretty much the exact same result. AI can only do so much of the lifting for you. I think for the people that are really going to be able to use AI to the fullest, it's going to be the people that are passionate about gaming, have a passion project that they're working with, and know exactly where their limits are, what they're going to be able to do, and what they would need help to do outside, and be able to outsource those specific things to AI while keeping the passion for the project in itself. I think what we could potentially see. I mean, like it's even happening now, actually. If you look at the PlayStation Store, there are hundreds upon hundreds of games on the PlayStation Store that are just AI generated absolute garbage. And it's really kind of sad. And it's putting kind of a bad name on some of these, indie studios that are developing games and having to release them. And now they're having to compete with something that they spent their times, that spent hard work on creating, versus something that is completely AI generated that someone said, "Oh, I have this idea for a game, AI go build it." And I think that that could potentially put a really bad reputation on some of these smaller developers. I think in the long run, it's going to be really beneficial for the companies and developers that get it. I think we also run the risk of some of these AAA companies that they see the success of some of these live service games and they can't find developers that are passionate enough about it to create a good quality live service game that fall back on AI because you look at what happened. We talked about this in a previous episode. You look at what happened with the Arkham games and eventually getting to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You don't have people that were passionate about it to make it a super, super enjoyable experience. And I think when you see games, we see specifically game developers that see the money that can be made through live service games that can't find passionate developers will fall back on AI to make these games. And it could potentially spell some really bad things for some of these big companies.
Not to totally refute what you're saying there, but I think the reason why Injustice failed is live service is harder than people think it is. I think they think live service just means, oh, just make a battle pass and see how much you can squeeze their wallet. Let's throw some funny skins in there and call it a day. Live service actually means real content. The biggest problem with Injustice is it was literally the same levels. Imagine they built 13 great levels. They
Hmm.
never made another level. They just made 13 levels, and then, oh, now instead of giving you fire weapons, we'll give you water weapons. Instead of water weapons, we'll give you lightning weapons. Like, they gave it different burns and effects. Obviously, I'm making up silly examples, but
Hmm.
but it was really the same level. I've played this level 50 times. If you're going to make a live service game, you have to give me live content, not the same content I already played for, imagine 50 hours. You want me to play it
Yeah.
again, but now with water weapons? I already know what's going to happen around every corner. And to flip it on its head, that's kind of where AI could actually fix things, because AI could have made that level feel very different. If it made the problem with Injustice is every level felt the same. Sure, what I'm hitting them with is different. Maybe it's a melee only version, but around this corner, a big guy comes around. Okay, now the ship comes and drop 4 units. Now I have to go over here. I'm gonna run over here, even though there's nothing there, because the next 30 seconds I know a ship is gonna appear, and I gotta beat up those guys. And then I gotta run across the other side of the map and beat up these other guys. AI could, if there was such a thing as AI, it could completely change the way that those minions spawn in. It could change the way if it was a truly destructible environment, change the way the buildings are. I think map destruction, or changing environment completely changes how a game plays.
Yeah.
As long as you don't wipe the whole map, because then if it's just one level, then it doesn't matter what you do. You just cleared the whole map. But the buildings have to
Hmm.
rebuild themselves in some fantastical way. But there's ways where AI could have made those same 13 levels feel
Yeah.
truly different and unique, as long as they had the parameters. To your point, AI is not sentient, it is just guessing. But it could put together enough recipes to make the environment different, especially if it could change the enemy types, right? Because that big bot usually has a club. How about that big bot now has a whip? Now he can,
Yeah.
or he has skates on and can move really fast along the ground.
Hmm.
I think AI could really help the trash that is live service games. And the reason why people like to sell live service games, they want your money every month.
Hmm.
And there's just so many predatory problems in live service. And Injustice went for all the money reasons and didn't deliver any of the live service reasons. They just wanted
Hmm.
basically the money without the benefit. So I think AI can fix a lot of that. And to your point, there's going to be a lot of garbage AI games made. Rosebud.ai is a vibe coding website where you, without any coding experience at all, you can use AI prompts to make mobile games. And we're going to see a giant influx of garbage games made by the millions and the thousands that will use tried and true mechanics that we love, gameplay loops that we probably love,
Hmm.
and they're going to give us with tomatoes. Now we're going to give us with potatoes. Now let's get it with yams. Now let's get it with cucumbers. And at the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's still a round shaped, like you as the gamer have to have the discernment to recognize I've played this game before and not play it and not reward
Yeah.
that behavior. Especially don't throw money at it. The moment you throw money at it, you're basically telling people to make more of that. And it's up to the intelligence of the gaming community to be smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think, like I said, as AI develops, I think if it's used responsibly, you could have some real benefits to it. To your point on like the destructible environments, I do think that's something where it has to be done with care too, because I think one of my most fond memories of a game with destructible elements was Battlefield One. The World War One Battlefield game was so much fun. You could do all sorts of different things with the vehicles, with the different weapons, create paths to get to a point that weren't there before. And that was a game that was developed without any AI whatsoever. And it was just people that really cared about the game, wanted to have a good experience, and went through the time to actually produce something that was really quality. That game was so much fun. And I'm not sure how much AI was used in the latest Battlefield game or the Battlefield that just happened, the open beta that's happening now. If it's used properly, it can be a real asset. I just don't think it's going to be used properly. I think people are going to get greedy with AI. They're going to see, oh, this is a great way for me to cut corners, not have to do the work. And I don't really see it being used the way it could be.
Sure, maybe you're right. Time will tell, but I think people will always find ways to make a buck. So to your point, greed is the real killer of AI.
Hmm.
And I hope that the folks who run platforms like Steam, like the Nintendo Store, all the folks where you can buy video games, I hope have some level of morality to safeguard the abuses that will come. But abuses have
Yeah.
been coming for a while now, and I think places like Steam have done a pretty good job of keeping the garbage out. But because I've seen more inside of the Switch store, man, there's so many bad games in the Switch store. I feel bad for people who think some of those games are real. Those are
Mm.
literally $5 theft games. They literally just trying to steal $5 from me. It's not that bad. It's only $5. Oh no, it's bad. It's not even a real game. Sometimes it crashes, doesn't even play. And I'm not sure if I blame Nintendo or you guys, but either way, I want my $5 back. But you know that isn't gonna happen. But
Yeah.
Battlefield 6, a new one drops October 10th. I'll tell you that Battlefield game, that was usually permanent destruction on that map. So I think that
Yep. Yep.
that was a cool, interesting thing. And then the later Battlefields let people build certain unit types can build infrastructure, because once you destroy an entire map, you guys are just running on a flat surface, and it kind of removes a lot of
Yeah.
the tactical elements. But Battlefield 6, this might be the first Battlefield since probably Battlefield 4 that I'm actually excited for. I think I've been between, you would think between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 6 that there's only been one game in between. There's been 3 games between Battle
I don't know.
4.
Battlefield 1 was pretty great. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 6, there was literally 3 Battlefields, which is just how video game titles work. So I'm excited for 6. 6 looks like it might be the return to what's good. I think the other Battlefields in the middle were off the mark in various ways. But you know, I'm glad you had a good time. And my other thing
Yeah.
with Battlefields is usually good 6 months after release. I don't know why we can't live in a world where when you release a game, it's good on day 0. I hope AI fixes that for these people. Can you please
Hmm.
make your game good? And usually it's bug ridden, features don't work. Like there's every problem, latency. Like there's so many problems
Yeah.
with day 0 releases of video games right now. Lord Jesus, if there's one thing you can use AI, fix that. Make games good when they come out. Because I'm afraid
Yeah.
I don't buy games on day 0.
It's true.
Why bother? Your game doesn't work, not enough servers because you're being cheap. Because
Hmm.
you know, long term, like I get it. I get the long term reason why they don't spin on up servers because they know long term they don't need it. But then maybe I won't play your video game. Let all the other guys crash your servers and I'll check back in 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I've completely stopped pre-ordering games for that exact reason. I used to, when I got excited for a new release, I'd pre-order it instantaneously. Can't remember the last time I pre-ordered a game though. So,
Yeah, so look
well,
forward to
that's
seeing you
kind of
guys in a battlefield. And yeah, hopefully
yeah.
this random AI debate of ours hits you somewhere. Hopefully you think AI is good. If it is, that's a plus for me. If you think AI is bad, then that's a plus for Scruffy. And yeah, so we'll see you guys out there. See you at the Glue Hack in Boulder,
Oh
Colorado,
yeah.
October 8th through the 10th. The competition is actually starting now when this airs. It's already been ongoing. So people already are building for it. But the in-person part is October 8th through 10th. Check out glue.com/AI and look forward to talking to you guys, seeing you guys somewhere. Maybe in the Reach Discord. Reach Conference, November 6th, 7, 8 here in Orlando, Florida. 100 plus content creators and their communities converging in the same location to do gaming together where if you do digital right, you'll go from URL to IRL in Orlando,
IRL.
Florida. Oh, I should have let you finish it. That would have been cool. Next time, next time.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to hear what y'all thoughts on AI are. So be sure to drop a comment. Let us know kind of what you're thinking about. Really curious to kind of see where some people's different opinions are on this topic because I think it's AI long term could be really good, but it has to be used right. So I hope you enjoyed this, and this has been Dollars Lifestyle and Charity. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.